David? My mother's voice would come sweeping down the hallway with just enough spice in it to let the old man know that once again, he'd pushed too hard. Leave him alone. He stays out of trouble and he's a decent student. A decent student. I could have had straight A's if I wasn't so busy sketching and doodling. Some call it a distraction. I call it dedication. But hey, decent was decent. Then my father's face would soften, made mush by my mother's tone. Look, can you just try it for me, Rashad? Just in high school. That's all I ask. I begged your brother to do it, and he needed it even more than you do. But he wouldn't listen, and now he's stuck working down at UPS. The way he said it was as if the lack of ROTC had a direct connection to why my older brother worked at UPS. As if only green and blue uniforms were okay, but brown ones meant failure. That's a good job. The boy takes care of himself, and him and his girlfriend have their own apartment. Plus, he's got all that volunteer work he does with the boys at the rec center. So Spoonie's fine, my mother argued. She pushed my father out of the way so she could share the space in the doorway, so I could see her. And Rashad will be too. Dad shook his head and left the room. That exact same conversation happened at least 20 times, just like that. So when I got to high school, I just did it. I joined ROTC. Really, it's called JROTC, but nobody says the J. It stands for the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. I joined to get my dad off my back, to make him happy. Whatever. The point is, it was Friday, uniform day, and right after the final bell rang, I ran to the bathroom with my duffel bag full of clothes to change out of everything green. Springfield Central High School bathrooms were never empty. There was always somebody in there at the mirror studying whatever facial hair was finally coming in, or sitting on a sink checking their cell phone, skipping class. And after school, especially on a Friday, everybody popped in to make sure plans hadn't been made without them knowing. The bathroom was pretty much like an extension of the locker room, where even the students like me, the ones with no athletic skill whatsoever, could come and talk about the same thing athletes talked about, without all the ass slapping, which, to me, made it an even better place to be. "What up, Shad?" said English Jones, making a way too romantic face in the mirror. "Model face to the left, model face to the right. Brush hairline with hand, then come down the face and trace the space where hopefully, one day, a mustache and beard will be. That's how you do it. Mirror looking 101. And English was a master at it. English was pretty much a master at everything. He was the stereotypical green-eyed pretty boy with parents who spoiled him. So he had fly clothes and tattoos. Plus his real name, was English. So he pretty much had his pick when it came to the girls. It was like he was born to be the man. Like his parents planned it that way. But unstereotypically, he wasn't cocky about it like you would think, which of course made the ladies and the teachers and the principal and the parents and even the basketball coach even more crazy about him. That's right. English was also on the basketball team. The captain, the best player. Because why the hell wouldn't he be? "What's good, E?" I said, giving him the chin-up nod while pushing my way into a stall. English and I had been close since we were kids, even though he was a year older than me. We were 2 pieces of a 3-piece meal. Shannon Pushcart was the third wing, and the fries, the extra salty add-on, was Carlos Green. Carlos and Shannon were also in the bathroom, both leaning into the urinals but looking back at me, which, by the way, is a weird thing to do. Don't ever look at someone else while you're taking a piss. Doesn't matter how well you know a person, it gets weird. "You partying tonight at Jill's, soldier boy?" Carlos asked, clowning me about the ROTC thing. "Of course I'm going. What about you? Or you got basketball practice?" I asked from inside the stall. Then I quickly followed with, "Oh, that's right. You ain't make the team. Again." "Oh!" Shannon gassed the joke up like he always did whenever it wasn't about him. A urinal flushed and I knew it was him who flushed it because Shannon was the only person who ever flushed the urinals. "I swear that's never gonna get old," Shannon said, laughter in his voice. I unbuttoned my jacket, a polyester Christmas tree covered in ornaments, and threw it over the stall door. Whatever, Carlos said. Yeah, whatever, I shot back. Don't y'all ever get tired of cracking the same jokes on each other every day? English's voice cut in. Don't you ever get tired of stroking your own face in the mirror, English? Carlos clapped back. Shannon's spit laughed. Got him! Shut up, Shan, English snapped. And anyway, it's called stimulating the follicles, but y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. But seriously, it ain't working, from Shannon. Yeah, maybe your follicles just ain't that into you. Carlos came right behind him. By this point, I was doubled over in the stall laughing. But your girlfriend is, English said with impeccable timing. A snuff shot straight to the gut. Ho! Of course, from Shannon again. I don't even have no girlfriend, Carlos said. But that didn't matter. Cracking a joke about somebody's girlfriend, real or imaginary, is just a great comeback at all times. It's just classic, like your mother jokes. Carlos sucked his teeth, then shook the joke off like a champ and continued. That's why we gotta get to this party, so I can see what these ladies looking like. I'm with you on that one, English agreed. Smartest thing you said all day. Off went the greenish-blue, short-sleeve, button-up shirt, which I also flung across the top of the door. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, Shannon said, way too eager. See what these ladies looking like, he mimicked Carlos, the slightest bit of sarcasm still in his voice. If I picked up on it, I knew Carlos did too. I can't tell you what they'll be looking like, but I can tell you who they won't be looking at. You, Carlos razzed, still on get back from Shannon being slick and for laughing at my basketball crap. It had been at least 3 minutes since I made that joke, and he was still holding on to it. So petty. Shut up, Los. Everybody in here know I got more game than you in every way, Shannon replied, totally serious. I kicked my foot up onto the toilet to untie my patent leather shoes. Just so you know, patent leather shoes should only be for men who are getting married. Nothing about patent leather says war. Argue about all this at the party. Just make sure y'all there. It's supposed to be live, English said, the sound of his footsteps moving toward the door. He and Shannon didn't have mandatory basketball practice like usual, but were still going to the gym to shoot around because, well, that's what they did every day. For those guys, especially English, basketball was life. English knocked on my stall twice. Look for me when you get there, dude. Bet. Later, Shad, from Shannon. All right, Shad, hit me when you're on your way over, Carlos called as the door closed behind them. Carlos grew up right down the street from me and, like English, was a senior and therefore could drive, and therefore, again, was always my ride to the party. We smoked him with the jokes all the time because he tried out for the basketball team every single year and got cut every single year because he just wasn't very good. But if you asked him, he was the nicest dude to ever touch a ball. What he actually was good at, though, was art, which is also why he and I got along. He wasn't into drawing or painting, at least not in the traditional sense. He was into graffiti. A writer. His tag was Lost. And they were all over the school and our neighborhood and even the east side. Whenever we were heading to a party, for him, it was just another opportunity to speed around the city in his clunker, the backseat covered in paint markers and spray cans while he pointed out some of his masterpieces. Really, they were more like our masterpieces because I was the one who gave him some of the concepts for where and how to write his tag. For instance, on the side of the neighborhood bank, I told him he should bomb it in money green block letters. And on the door of the homeless shelter, I suggested gold regal letters. And on the backboard of a basketball hoop at the West Side Court, I suggested he write it in gang script. I never had the heart to do any actual tagging. I mentioned how my father was, right? Right. Plus, Carlos was a pro at it. He knew how to control the nozzle and minimize the drip to get clean tags. Like, perfect. I never really told him, just because that wasn't something we did. But I loved them. All of them.